Okay, so today we got wheel bearings to do on a 2004 Grand Am GT. Obviously, when you start off, you want to lift the car off the frame, and then you want to put your jack stand either under the frame, or I have it under the subframe under the bolt there. That's good enough. Okay, and then obviously you're going to want to take your wheel off. You put your wheel under just in case the car falls. And then so to start off with the wheel bearing, you're going to be pulling off your caliper bolts. So you got one bolt here, and you got one bolt at the bottom there. Okay, so now these two bolts are out here. They're going to be 12 mils on the top and bottom. Okay, and then you're just going to take your pry tool and you're going to stick it right in here and pry the caliper back. Give her a couple pries. See how she starts moving there. Kind of hard to do this with one hand, but after that, your caliper will slide right off. After you slide your caliper off, you want to get a bungee cord and tie it off. And I'll show you what I mean in a second when I get this caliper off here. Okay, so once you pull your 12 mil bolts out, like I said, hang your brake caliper with a bungee cord. This brake caliper is kind of hard to get off. The piston was damaged, I guess, so it took me a bit to get it off. Okay, so your next step is going to be getting your 13 mil is what you're going to need. And you're going to take off these bolts here, this one here, and this one here. And what's going to happen is this bracket's going to come off, and then we'll be able to take the rotor off. Okay, and so after you got your bracket off, what I like to do is I always put my bolts back where they go. That way you don't lose anything. I know that these ones are for my caliper. So the smaller ones. So once you have the caliper off and the bracket, your rotor is literally just going to slide right off. And then the next step is going to be getting this nut off here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're just going to impact this guy off here. There we go. Okay, and now so the next part is going to be, there's 3 bolts at the back here. I'm going to try and get the light where you can see them. There's one bolt right here. There's one bolt at the top right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. There's one there. There's one here. And then if you come on this side, you're going to have one more. And it's going to be on this side here. Can't see it. Give me a sec. That bolt right there. So 3 bolts to pull the hub, and then she'll come off. Okay, so another thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have your ABS sensor right here. You're going to have to disconnect your ABS sensor. All you do is just pull back on this guy here, and it'll pop right out. And then to get it out, there's actually a little clip right there. I don't know if you can see that. You pop that clip off, and then the ABS sensor will pop off, just like so. See, there's the ABS sensor now. So now you're at the point, I forgot to mention, you want to knock your axle in a bit with a hammer. You want to be careful doing it. You don't want to mess these threads up. So you just kind of get this to go in a bit. And the reason you're doing that is so that you have room to get these bolts back here. These 3 bolts back here are going to be, see how there's room there now to get this bolt here, and then there's going to be room at the top. So there's 3 bolts, the one there, and the other side. Okay, so once you have your 3 bolts out, this is what they're going to look like. I push this axle in like, little ways to get this top bolt here. That one's kind of a pain in the butt. You want to make sure that you push your axle in as far as you can. Use your 13 and you should be able to get on it like that. That's how I was able to get on it. This one I was able to get on it straight, and the other one I had to use a swivel to get the other bolt out, obviously because this axle's in the way. But now you basically got to hammer the hub off, so I'm going to go do that. Okay, and so when you're hitting the hub, you just got to try and hit it off and give her a couple good hits all around. Hit it from behind on on both sides. Try not to hit your shield. Bang on this side. Keep doing the same thing. Just work it back and forth. And as you can see, this already has a little bit of play, so the bearing is coming. So you see what I'm doing. I can't really hammer while I'm doing this. I'm trying to, but there we go. From behind here. Careful you're not hitting your shield. You get the idea. So excuse me a minute, I'm gonna get the hub off here. Okay, so here's something that hasn't happened to me before. First time for everything. Hub assembly's off. And it looks like the race, I believe, is stuck in there. So I almost got it out. I'm just hammering it from the back here. Once I get the race out, then I'm gonna clean up the mountain area and then I'll throw on the new wheel bearing. Okay, so once you have the hub off, you want to make sure to clean in here with sandpaper. Clean it up really good. That's going to be your mounting surface for your new hub. Unfortunately, like I said, this is the first time I've seen this. The race, or whatever, the back of the hub actually got stuck in here. It was, here, I'll show you real quick. It was jammed in here like this, stuck behind there. So I had to, there we go. There, it was stuck in there like that. So what I did was I took my pry bar from the back, or sorry, my punch, and then this punch here, and I was able to hammer it out, because you can't put that in. That has to be out when you put your new wheel hub on. And yeah, like the whole hub basically came apart. Okay, so this is what your new hub is going to look like. I said that one was all torn apart. So all you're gonna do is you're gonna make sure that you have your ABS wire at the top, and then you're literally just gonna get that guy in there. You gotta make sure that you put this in first so that you don't squish it. So you're gonna put this on first, and then your hub's gonna go on. You have to put this shield on or else there's gonna be nothing to hold your ABS sensor. Okay, once you got your 3 bolts in your hub, and your ABS sensor connected right here to the bracket, then you go ahead and put your axle nut on. The service manual calls for 284 foot-pounds. I don't have a torque wrench that goes that high, so I'm just going to hit her with my impact. And normally you're not supposed to do that because it technically you're preloading the bearing, but I think I'll be okay. I've done it like 20 times like this, so put the axle nut on. After we get the axle nut on, then we'll throw our brake bracket back on, and then we'll throw our caliper back on, and then we'll basically be done. So I'm just going to put this back on here. Okay, so make sure you plug in your ABS sensor at the back there. ABS sensor, make sure that's plugged in. And then next, obviously, we're going to throw on our rotor. Oh, we got our rotor on. Little trick to hold the rotor, what I do is I thread a lug nut on. That way it holds the rotor in place. Okay, and then next we're going to be putting the brake bracket back on. Okay, so I kind of went ahead, but I'm going to be making another video. You throw your bracket on, your 2 bolts at the back, the 13 mils, and then you got your 12 mils for your caliper. You might have to press the caliper in a bit, but other than that, that's how a wheel bearing goes. Guess I could do a recap here. So basically, to do the wheel hub, you got to take off your caliper bolt, 12 mil here, 12 mil on the bottom, caliper will come off. Then you got 2 13s at the back for this bracket. You take the 2 13s off, which are back here, They're right here, right there. You take those 213s off, this bracket will swing out of the way, your rotor will come off, you take your axle nut off, you disconnect your ABS sensor, and then you take your 3 bolts out for your hub and smash the shit out of it until it comes off, and then reverse. Throw it back on, put your 3 bolts back in, put your axle nut on, put your ABS sensor back on, put your rotor back on. I don't know if I said axle nut already. Put your brake bracket back on, your 213s, and then you put your caliper back on. That's how you do a hub.